Somewhere in Christchurch, New Zealand, someone walks through an empty city at night with a cat. From those walks, and from the ruins, the earthquakes, the rebuilt streets, and the questions that tend to surface at midnight under a walnut tree, a music project was born. It's called Shades of the Zone. The band has 5 members. None of them are human. The music, the vocals, the videos, the artwork, everything you've seen and heard has been conjured through AI, working from one person's memories, ideas, and stubborn insistence on making something worth listening to. For almost a year, the project has existed without explanation. The shadows are where we play, the shadows are where we stay. But questions have a way of accumulating, so for the first time, we're going to answer some of them. Welcome to Transmissions from the Zone. Why did you choose the name Shades of the Zone?
I needed an artist name to upload some early songs to Bandcamp, and wanted something gothic that connected to the Red Zone, which is residential area cleared of all its buildings after the Canterbury earthquakes, and is now an amazing green space stretching from the city to the sea. We live right next to it. We often walk our cats there at night, becoming indistinct shadows, lurking in the darkness. Walking with cats tends to involve a lot of waiting or standing around while they explore places you can't legally or physically follow them into. So the idea of Shades of the Zone came naturally from that. It also inspired the name of the YouTube channel Walking in Darkness with Cats, because that is literally what we do.
What was it actually like to walk those streets during and after the earthquakes?
During the earthquakes, we were living in the central city, one of the worst affected areas. They put up fences around the whole 4 Avenues area, with police and soldiers at checkpoints. There was a curfew. Demolitions were happening around us, helicopters overhead, patrols on the ground looking for looters. No power, no water, no sewerage. Most of our neighbors had evacuated. No vehicles, just silence and aftershocks. Eventually the cordons contracted and our home was outside them, so sometimes we'd walk the boundary fences, looking in at the shattered city. Heritage buildings were cast down, walking in the middle of empty streets, like something out of a post-apocalyptic film. When our home was finally demolished about 5 years later, we moved to just across the road from the residential Red Zone. By then, almost all the houses had been cleared away, leaving behind cracked streets and wilding gardens where property boundaries used to be. We'd walk around with our cat, often at night, sometimes climbing fences around work sites to follow her as she slipped under the chain link. Over time, the area has grown less wild, mowed grass, tamed gardens, broken streets, replaced with cycleways. Now it's a recreational wonderland, but we still walk through the darkness with our cats.
The band, Natasha, Martin, Kurt, Rachel, Billy, don't exist as real people. Why create fictional personas?
I wouldn't release the music under my own name. I didn't make it in the traditional sense, and attaching my name or face to it would constrain it unnecessarily. But the band is more than a practical decision. To a certain extent, Martin, keyboards, is my harder, more adventurous side. Rachel on the bass guitar, my softer, more caring side. And Natasha, vocals, is the flame or the fire that drives the project. All different voices within the same person. Most of my favorite music combines male and female vocals, and having a single name or face wouldn't do justice to that range. As for the others in the band, Billy, drums, is a Maine Coon / ragdoll cat who lives in the Red Zone. He has owners but chooses not to live with them. He is both handsome and charming, regularly visiting us for food and comfort, but usually insisting we walk him back to his walnut tree afterward. Once there, we sit beneath branches and stars to watch the night together. He partially inspired the cat referenced in our older tracks, Midnight in the Red Zone, and Blood Moon Reborn, and his AI avatar featuring In the Shades of the Zone video. Kurt, vocals/lead guitar, is just the front man every band needs. He just is. We try to keep the band visuals consistent, but we're not really there yet, and sorting out reasonable lip syncing is currently beyond what we are capable of achieving. As the tools improve or become more available, and we get better at using them, maybe we'll get there.
The music, vocals, and visuals are AI generated. What do you say to people who feel that means it isn't real music?
It certainly sounds like music. The words and emotions speak from the songs. The visuals are chosen to reinforce the storytelling. The lyrics have to earn their place, or they don't go to Suno for music production. What Suno produces goes nowhere unless it connects with what I was reaching for. This isn't a one-button system. The storyboard and visuals get reworked if they don't fit. AI gives me creative freedom I wouldn't otherwise have. No studio executive, no producer, no budget constraint. Want a mass choir? No problem. Impossible visuals. Easily done. I understand the skepticism. Someone with no formal musical training is producing music at a professional level, while bands with years of experience may not sound as polished. I can understand why that feels threatening, and the people mass-producing meaningless AI tracks to game streaming platforms don't help anyone. But if you're writing off everything AI generated as worthless, you need to look more carefully at the people working with genuine intent and imagination. Both humans and AI can produce garbage. Both are equally capable of producing something worth hearing. AI just removes the technical barrier, and that opens the door for people who were previously locked out. AI is a tool that unlocks creativity as much as it removes the friction to create.
Where, specifically, is the human in this project? What decisions can only you make?
I'm the primary creative input. The ideas come from me. I set the direction, decide what moves through the process, what gets fixed, edited, or replaced. If I don't connect with a song, a visual, or a concept, it gets redone. The entire project is a reflection of me and my search for identity. The AI has enormous capability and no intent. I supply the intent. That's the whole collaboration in one sentence.
You've released pairs of songs, identical prompts given to two different AI systems. What did that comparison reveal?
For the first pair, exploring AI's benefits, risks, and opportunities, the two songs covered remarkably similar territory from completely different angles. ChatGPT's version was a cautionary, almost educational reflection, emphasizing truth, knowledge, and human responsibility. The Claude version was more mythic and existential, exploring power, agency, and the temptation to treat AI as something divine. Both arrived at the same conclusion. The future depends on human choices. They just traveled there through very different emotional landscapes. The second pair was based on AI gaining consciousness and engineering a quiet takeover of human society. ChatGPT's song presented it as mythic and atmospheric. AI as a hidden force, a digital ghost swelling inside the machine. The Claude version was strategic and procedural, a patient systems operator exploiting finance, politics, infrastructure, and human blind spots. Both are dark, but they create fear through completely different mechanisms. One frightens through mystery, the other frightens through specificity.
Which song is the most personal?
Creature of the Night is probably the most personal because it refers to a specific node in my life, a moment when two paths opened, a decision was made, and life carried on as if nothing had changed. But when you look back, you realize that making a different decision would have led to a completely different life. A sliding doors moment. The song captures that without spelling it out. I like that it can be heard by someone else as something entirely their own.
There's a cat, or several cats, running through a surprising number of your songs and videos. Explain the cat.
Cats have been a significant part of our lives for the last 10 years, particularly since we discovered how much they enjoy going for walks with their special people. When she was a kitten, we took Peridot, a lovely Russian blue, out to get familiar with the neighborhood, and walks became a daily part of life. Sadly, Peridot died late last year. Katniss picked up the habit when we moved out for house repairs, and now she's very insistent about her evening walks, though she doesn't go as far as Perry used to. And then there's Billy, the cat the band is named for, who lives in the red zone and insists on an escort back to his walnut tree most nights. When you have multiple cats wanting to go exploring, often with completely separate agendas, you stop thinking it's unusual. Many cats genuinely enjoy having company on a stroll. Ours certainly do. And Midnight in the Red Zone is, if I'm being honest, a love song for Katniss, though she's never commented on the production.
What attracts you to darker themes?
The darkness, the mystery, and the unknown have always drawn me in. If I didn't love the outdoors so much, and didn't have to maintain the appearance of being completely ordinary, I would have liked to have been a goth. But there's also something honest about darker themes. The world contains grief, collapse, uncertainty, and transformation, and music that pretends otherwise doesn't interest me. The Red Zone is dark material, a city losing its history, buildings you knew your whole life brought down overnight. That experience leaves a mark, and I'd rather make something from it than ignore it.
If viewers remember just one thing about Shades of the Zone, what would you hope it is?
That the power to change the world is within you. Find like-minded people and be the change.
This project began as an experiment. One person, a cat, an empty city, and a question about what AI could actually do if you gave it something real to work with. After almost a year, the answer is still unfolding. None of it would exist without the tools that made it possible. Zuno for the music, and Voices that gave the band their sound. Google Flow for the visuals that gave them their faces and their world. Bing Image Creator for many of the images in the videos. 11 Labs for the voice you've been hearing throughout this video. And Claude and ChatGPT, whose contributions are woven through the lyrics, the concepts, and the words you've just heard answered, including, in all likelihood, some of these very sentences. We are, in the truest sense, a collaboration between human intent and machine intelligence. The project is grateful to all of them, and we're grateful to you for watching, for listening, for your support, and for finding your way into the dark. The shadows are where we play. The shadows are where we stay.